Yeah, it's just us here, huh? Let's see. Let me see if we're on mute. Go ahead. Yeah. They're in charge. I guess for the today? Yeah. It's going to be a short one, but it starts at 10. Okay. Okay. This is like figure. It starts at 10, then you just start at 10. And it's on the budget too. They said it's just a short, so I thought it would be easy to have a 9 o'clock meeting here, and then I can go to the meeting. And just kind of, well, I think we're just voting on the budget. Yeah. Yeah, that's no problem. And then like that, I can, and there's, we can all walk on, have a work session, and then just start at 11. And so that way you can come here, have a meeting, and then go right into the commission meeting. Anyway, yeah, if we can do that work meeting, I think it's I don't have anything yet. Okay. And where it's kind of the end of the year, the final budget, things like that. There should be not. Are we building the gap in the budget? Haven't started. Haven't even started. We have Peter down kind of going through and scrubbing 2023 budget to make corrections and those so that we can figure out where we end this year. And that gives us a starting point for next year. Staff are out. Peter's still spending. They don't want the money to go away. So. The $4 million gap, that's a big gap. It's just a matter of just sitting down and seeing where we can find the dollars. I guess this is really don't have more business that we can benefit from the time so we can keep the dollars here. How do you, that's the hard part about buying local here is it's expensive just to import. What we need is the tourists to spend it up here instead of finding it out now. The problem is, there are lots of in-state tours. The jumpers always get back their trailer with all the food. They do, so don't pack your trailer up there. So they don't buy anything, they just bring everything with them. Yeah. Like hello. Go to Blue Mountain, and they don't have the food and stuff there. Yeah. And then, but we do the same when we travel out. We wait until we're up north to go to Costco. And how do you reverse that trend? Well, it'd be nice here in Texas. Yeah, we don't have shoe store. I know when I was in college, we were poor. We were going to use this in class. And so then it's a different. And so we used to be the scholarship for student cash. And we took the cash and we spent it something else. And so we started doing scholarship for dorms, scholarship for computer, scholarship. And then because of the department, we just like, what is this in the cafeteria? Stand up local, how do you And so the money people on campus, yeah, that's what we said, if I move to the grocery store, just one change. Yeah. And I just think in the weekend, I don't know if I go for this signature list, there's something I can have to do with money in, we get the credit card. But if you think you just, everybody just, and I know we spend a lot in water parks, we spend a lot, but the grocery store here in this store, and they want meat, I know it stays local. Yeah. What is there as we look at our budget, which is fine, and if there's something that even if just maybe a little bit more, maybe or localized. Me with the business cards, and we use San Juan records. Yeah. Things like that, or letterhead San Juan records. Yeah. I can get it cheaper out of town, but here it's the first. Yeah. Well, I see somebody from Juan is one. Hi. Good. How are you? Good. Office supplies, you know, I got somebody needs to do an office supply. Yeah. We've done an audit on there. Yeah, so we try to get somebody out of Miller to come here and open a coffee center type thing, and not enough business to go around. And so we have not have happened in the offices, so just like we can run in the town. I go to the school district, their coffee center here, for their coffee. It's just a line that we have that meetings and the school district. And then they pay taxes. Just local business, local employees. Yeah, we do need to encourage that. I'm just thinking, I don't know how much I think it should be. I need to see, should increase 10% to see, and I don't know, 10% of the cost. Yeah. Increase, even if I want to buy it, I'm just going to find it. There's nothing. Yeah. You have to buy that. I wait for you for your stuff. I start waiting at midnight sometimes and say, oh, it's going to come pretty soon. Did you get the artwork?
That's mine.
Did you did the artwork too?
Yeah, sort of.
Because I totally focused one night and I had one. I did one thumb, I just got a cranberry. And just, I didn't know how to draw, but the leaves were so good and stuff. And I have a few other ones in the process.
I like coloring books because they're black and white.
Yeah, one about the cranberry in my mother-in-law. She always, you know, wait for the finger and she always cross. We get it I love it so much. So she runs to the books, you know, like I said, brings back the cranberries and everybody start eating. You guys just pass the salad, pass this, nobody asked for the cranberry. Only one bite is missing, it's not really done at that time. A very nice mom went down on Friday, she said, you guys how was it full? She's going to get rid of the cranberry. How was it full? And then on Saturday she said, how was it cheese? And on Sunday, how was it ice cream? What else? You know, something like that. And 1 year the grandma didn't get the cranberry. And nobody missed it. And on Friday somebody said, what was the cranberry? This is I said nobody likes, but I like it with toast. Yeah, on Saturday, somebody else came and asked me, where's the cranberry? I started making it. She said, I like it with cheese. And somebody finally, the one that was going because like it with ice cream, and she said, that's it. And so, dinner, well, let's have it. And after sparse cranberry goes.
You have to have it, even though nobody won't take it.
I know.
You have to have cranberry.
Good in sandwiches.
It is good with sandwiches.
You like it in sandwich with the turkey?
Not the turkey sandwiches.
Yeah. So I wrote a little book, but now I want to do. Please don't forget the cranberry, correct recipe of cranberry. So don't different ways of people.
Have you ever read the book Water for Chocolate? And what I loved about it, it's recipes in the book. I mean, it's a story, but it's got recipes. I like to eat, so I like to cook.
I got half that.
I'm sorry?
I got half that. I like to.
Yeah.
And then my other one that in the process I have Juan de Juana. She leaves everything for mañana.
For mañana.
Mañana I'll do it. And so she was through the daytime fun. I just spend the time sleeping in the rock. And mom's age is she's sleeping behind the rock and neck and up rock. I mean, like when night comes in the desert, it's cold, so she's looking for desert moment. And so she always said, mañana, sí, mañana, I'm going to get up early and make myself a blanket, the Schneider does. And so the friends in the desert.
What do you have illustrate your things?
What?
Because I see this very colorful iguana.
I have a very colorful iguana. She is psychedelic and what's it? And some of my bushes, she goes and does some nails and so yeah. Yeah. Okay. This book that has started into the finish. And then one of our Christmas stories in Brian's grandparents. We're during the Depression, and they were living in California. They had two friends, and they had a little girl and a brother in the family. And the grandfather said, the father said, this year we're not going to have a Christmas tree for the girls. And, well, the twins were feeling bad for the little sister, so they were coming home from work and they saw a tree for sale at reduced price. So they get out of the bus and drag this tree home. And then the brother felt bad for the girl, so he bought a tree. And the father, he was working at a grocery store, he was feeling guilty. So this was the year that we didn't have one Christmas tree, we had 3 Christmas trees.
That's cute.
Huh? I know, sir. So, Commissioner Adams, the half hour out, and Commissioner Harvey's 15. So we're going to see who's the fastest speeding.
Where am I on the agenda?
Second.
Okay. Huh?
Want me to text you?
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Yep, I'll shoot a text to you.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
Did Bruce go to Vegas?
He's going.
He's going this week.
No, he had his eyes worked on all year. And so probably hasn't been checking his email and reading anything. You get your eyes worked on, and last thing you want to do is
Okay.
study really hard. And so
So what's the estimate of time?
fun.
What do you think the estimate of how much longer?
So Commissioner Harvey 15 minutes out and Commissioner Adams was 30. And so at least 15 minutes. We gotta have two of them here to start the meeting.
Yeah, I have planned to be gone because I have other plans. So I'm just trying to think if we could reschedule me
Ooh, that pushes you into next year, but yeah, we can schedule you if you want.
in January.
Yeah. I know I think your request is more for funding.
No,
Oh, is that?
I'm just letting you
was-
know what citizens
Oh,
aren't
that's right.
always
Okay,
complaining
yeah.
in your county. Sometimes we contribute and do good things.
Okay, that's what it was.
The
Mhm.
30-minute, 15, I can handle 30.
Yeah, sorry.
Well,
I
Jap-
can control me, I can't control them.
Japanese have this word. It's called shikataganai. Can't be helped. It's a very convenient word. What does January look like?
January, that's clear until next year. We don't have
2024.
anything yet on the work session. And so we can pull you into the work session. Just a minute, just putting it on there. You wanna do that?
Because
Instead?
we're talking about 10, right?
Well done.
It will be 10 o'clock before we really start going. Because you're talking 30 minutes out, 15 minutes out,
9:30, Commissioner Harvey will be here.
and 10 o'clock Bruce Adams will be here.
Yeah.
We can start when Commissioner Harvey arrives.
Okay, because you have to have a quorum of two.
Yeah,
Yeah, if there's room in January, I think I prefer that. That's okay. You may have a full agenda. I don't know.
no, we can try it and put you on. If we have to bump you, we can work with you.
Okay, what day in January?
The first and third Tuesdays.
First would be the 2nd of January,
I probably blind without.
because the second Tuesday is the 9th. And I have a whole packed day that day.
Okay.
You're the first and third.
Oh, yeah.
You are. You get one day off.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll be back then.
The 2nd of January?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I will be here at 9. Otherwise, I'll just keep the
Yeah.
path between
We'll
here
let
and
you know.
Monticello open.
Yeah, we'll let you know for sure.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm going to take off down the road. And
Okay.
I
Sorry
know
about
it's just life.
that.
I've been around a lot of Dene. You know, when you're around Dene and somebody says it's 5 o'clock, so we show up at 5, punctual, right? 6 people started wandering
I
in.
know you even had handouts. I'm gonna hide them. We should take their coloring books away.
For Christmas. Thank you.
Tell them she was here. She was ready. We were ready.
Yeah. Well, maybe they'll have a little
Sorry.
bit of egg on their face.
I know.
So I can switch my button.
set and switch?
One time I come for a work meeting.
At least we know that they're going to show up.
Yeah.
That's a change.
Yeah, before they just didn't show.
We didn't know. Nobody would be answered their phone, and one would be, so at least this way we know that they're on their way. Shouldn't be just a phone call. Sue hasn't attended our meeting for a while. I can't figure out what the heck happened. Who? Sue. Oh, they haven't been here.
Probably figure they can't get any traction.
Yeah. Dang. Yep. Every meeting I take a screenshot of who's here just to have it. So, yeah. We'll see. I haven't had to take a picture of that for a long time. Kind of nice. Kind of long.
All the Spanish Valley folks.
They're still, yeah, they're super interested in the ordinances here. Because
That resort,
they're still working on it. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, the big time developers like that typically don't go away. I mean, they're after the dollars. So they're going through designing the roads and everything else for their systems. Oh, heck yeah. Yeah.
especially when you're looking at losing Northern Ireland.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that always hurt. Yeah, that was gonna hurt.
What percentage of the TRT is
Huge. So we figured it'd be around $400,000.
Everybody left us.
Yeah, she tapped out.
Oh,
So,
I did this already.
Manny County.
How's it going?
good?
You are old people for another town.
Not always. Quite.
I wish the northern people would. Are they online?
Yeah, we're online. We're muted.
The people asking if I don't. People think we have lots of money.
Yeah, we compared this to
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. They're giving out Christmas bonuses. I'm like, man, last year they were claiming that they were poor and behind on payments, and this year they're getting Christmas bonuses.
We do
So
have
must have
we do have a bunch of rentals.
shook some tree.
So I think it's probably got
Yeah, that could be it.
actually know what they have.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, the thing is sometimes, like when we talking about the wastewater workers, if we don't give them some waste, like Brown County invited them. I see so many people from Brown County working in Brown County because they can put quite a bit of money there, and so
You shut down the road.
and then if it's
Make
leave
the
us,
road all the way around.
I'd be in favor. We're saying about going to Salt Lake, so it's
Slows you down, gets in the way.
especially in the middle of early spring and summer.
Yeah, that's the thing.
so the retail land, I mean, Southern County, can we go, do we have connection? Because I know we, if we go in more, I'm going to Melville or some to, like the ash ponds, whatever, not ash.
Oh, the potash.
Yeah. It's the guy that's building, he was building, and that guy that was here
everything says, yes, San Juan County. So the San Juan County, everybody keeps going and pasa Arango, around Grand County or the Grand County.
Yeah, you gotta go all the way into Moab, through it, to the other side to get back in. And so I flew down yesterday. They flew me down to that ranch, just to take a look at some of the things that they've got going on.
Down by Punish,
Yeah.
on that side of the river.
Yeah, yeah. But it's still just the edge of San Juan County there.
Was he a good, he's a good pilot?
Yeah, he had me fly, and so I had to be the good pilot.
So you're a pilot?
No.
Oh.
He's like, here, you take the stick. I'm like, oh, are
Who
you
who are
sure?
you flying with?
And so it was Jason Maybe. He's the owner of that ranch now down there.
Oh,
And so it was one of those
came and picked you up here.
little brush planes you have to set behind the pilot.
Oh, he
Both of
did?
you had 2 sticks.
He invited me a couple of times to go to Europe, but
Only two of
Don't
them.
fly with him, he'll make you fly the plane. So, then the pressure's on you. So,
well, the thing is that, when we had the Republican dinner in Moab,
yeah,
he came and it was dark and kind of
Yeah.
rainy.
yeah.
And he flew, I said, how'd you do that? No, I'm just kidding. Was he scared? Yeah, I was scared. I was really scared. I thought, okay.
Don't meet you then.
I'll try and meet you there.
But I talked to him about having some of those events at the ranch, because they've got kind of this little conference area upstairs that they can host some of those. I'm like, it's better than the doo-doo. If we have some of the events there,
Yeah.
they're fixing it up.
Well,
And
that's
so,
nice. I think
got the caves and everything that they've got apartment or the overnight rentals in. And so it's getting a bunch more tents down
What
there.
ranch is this called?
What is it called? I can't, it's just that potash.
Just
Ranch,
past it
yeah,
itself?
so you go to the potash turn and there's just a side road, a dirt road.
the train goes next to them. That's
You
where the
take-
train
Yeah,
goes.
yeah.
How far does the train go?
Goes, well, the train goes all the way up into to Emery County. But it stops at the plant. So it comes back up. But they're almost done with that project there. Within 2024, 2025.
I know what. My contact, did a meeting.
Yeah,
They
but
said they're gonna pick up.
that's part of the federal government's reclamation.
Cleaned up here, finished in 2000.
Okay.
About 250, 300 jobs out there.
Okay.
And they stopped that.
Oh, wow, that would
You
hurt.
could fill it in the grow tile or all that.
Wow. I've been huge cutting your shells tax. Yeah. But it's similar, they're trying to figure out what to do when they don't know.
So you have to fly to San Martin. Lights on, right?
Yeah.
Commissioner Stevens and I were on the AOG. We went up to, he called me up and said, Doug, I'm taking the county plane, we're going up to the AOG and guys want to ride. He said, sure. And so I plane was Saturday, and then Sunday down there, we flew up and I've never seen the landmass from there before.
Yeah,
Great
it's
way to see it.
very
Very
simple. Yeah.
And we went up there and Tim Martin, he was the son. He's 80 years old. Longitude now. And he was training Troy Butler.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So they were going to take off the land. Got out that. Troy wanted to let Tim take the controls. Troy wanted to show
Troy.
Doug pretty soon we're going through this canyon, and I look up and there's gold in the side of the canyon. He says, I'm not trying to say, you're not going above that, are you? And he says, nope. I went right through the arch.
Oh my heck, that's cool.
And the guy was done. Then we went flew Arch Canyon and everything.
Oh, that's cool.
That's what Tim Martin's known for. Arch Enemy.
Yeah.
He's got a video out of all the arches and
That,
Wilson Arch,
oh,
Cleveland Arch.
My husband and my daughter saw him going on the one, this, you know, to hear what the one.
Wilson, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can't picture a plane
Well,
going
he
through that.
asked us, says, how do you dare go through something like that? He says, well, the landing strip's only this wide, and that's 20, 30 feet wider, so,
no big deal. Whatever. It's like gust in the wind.
Close my eyes.
well, okay.
You're surviving. Good thing. That's your coffee.
Yeah, coffee.
Yeah, takes a minute. I thought I saw Commissioner Hopkins today.
So really, you can turn the heater down.
I'm dying. Starting to-
Well, usually it's cold, but the wind keys. Mm-hmm. The lady, Ellen, she's doing that presentation.
Did you have a chance to go through those ordinances?
Over here on this? Yeah. Yeah. Maybe anything.
Okay, we're turning on the microphones. Are they, go to the individuals and see if they're. All of them. Whatever, you have to turn yours on or you will. Volume's on. Okay, so we're ready as soon as he gets here. I sent a text to Mitch telling him come back. The Roses should be able to hear us now. There's nobody online, or at least on Zoom. Nothing is free. There's a price to be paid. Hey, Crystal. But it's not free.
So this is so you can have to get rid of roosters then, huh? The roosters, they make noise.
Yep.
Turn them into a stew.
Yeah, I love the sound of a rooster crowing in the morning.
A neighbor had a bunch of roosters and ducks, and when it's a full moon, the rooster got confused. Kept crackling. And all the animals came out and
They're in chorus.
they're all out. Mhm.
Peacocks are the ones that noise.
Yeah. I got one that, I got a little noisy, and when you pick up chicks, you don't know.
Well, they are.
It's like a chance, yeah. So I've had
Mm.
several of them just pop up as roosters.
We had one rooster that was really mean.
Yeah, us
It
too.
was so mean, and so one time are we on?
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah, we're all alive. Just waiting.
One time, it's a 4-year-old was screaming in the backyard. She was three or four, screaming like she was being killed. So my husband runs around and she beating. The rooster's not doing nothing to her, but every time the rooster went up, she hit him with a stick. So
She's under attack. Yeah. Yeah, once they start attacking kids, then they're out. They're done. So, yeah.
um,
So we can have staff running around listening for roosters in the morning.
Can you hear it? You can hear us all?
Testing, testing. This one's not on. Okay, now I'm there. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna test my mic.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
You couldn't?
Oh, you were muted on yours. Okay, testing, testing. Audio. How about that?
Rosa, Rosa.
Can you hear me?
Well, was here, got tired waiting and then left, I guess. And we'll come back.
Well, on that one, so for the second meeting, so I'll check and give you a thumbs up. Okay. Yeah.
It's weird that the Yahoo will.
Sylvia, you bought breakfast. I know.
Best food in town, huh? Maverick.
It is the best of all the Mavericks. As we travel, we always stop at Maverick. They have the best breakfast sandwich in Manasao.
They do. They had a pretty good. You're gonna make Commissioner Harvey hungry, and he might start munching on your egg muffin, your egg McMuffin.
Well, this is one of the perks that my driver gets. He likes the sandwiches.
Me too.
He always said, well, stop and get you a sandwich, but I know it's more.
Yeah.
I like the sandwiches. I mean,
their bundles are good too.
Yeah, Brian likes the sandwiches, so.
Mitch, we haven't seen a lot of you. My goodness, you lose one out of your department and all of a sudden
Yeah.
you're drowned in.
I've been pretty busy on the criminal side.
I'll bet. Yeah. Yeah.
So you're the one that put all this together?
Yes, I did.
I went and pulled Garfield County and Kane counties as well, just to take a look at theirs, Mitch, just to see
Yeah.
what some of the other counties. They just tie theirs into a nuisance.
Well, we can certainly do that.
Here's Garfield. That's an easy read. And then Kane County is a little bit more. I like that codification system that everybody uses. It makes it a little bit easier to find stuff. But I noticed there was a time different in both of those. It's like all of us kind of have a different time.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted. One of the things I wanted to talk to them is what exactly are the restricted hours.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, theirs is a 10 p.m.
You know, we used to have in landing, oh, I want to say the military, but whatever we have, yeah, the army there, they have weekends when they have training for the soldiers. We have an assigned weekend where people can put stuff in the curb and they came and pick up lots of the big
Yeah,
things. And that, I thought that was a good kind of a service and
yeah. I went to
to
Grand
help get rid of
Junction.
things,
I went to Grand Junction in the spring, and that's exactly what they did. All the property owners would haul all of the debris out to the road.
Yeah.
You go down the road, and every house had in the city, Grand Junction.
Yeah.
They just come and load it up in dump trucks.
Yeah, that's.
Well,
I like that idea.
we had lots of trees, so we always had lots of branches, and apparently we started just digging and put it under our vegetable. We just put the branches, bury them, and because we just can't keep up with them, trying to burn them or trying to remove it. But I think it's a good service if we can. I know in the Westwater community, they did
Yeah, they did the neighborhood cleanup.
they did a cleanup with cars. They got, they sold their cars and they were able to cash in some money.
They did
and-
dump bins out there, the garbage bins as well.
Yeah,
and so-
that kind of is helpful.
Yeah, yep. The trust fund paid for the garbage bins,
Mm-hmm.
and so
There he
the
is.
tipping fees. How are you doing with your site?
I got up this morning, came to commission meeting and ended up in Blanding.
Okay.
Did you?
We won't tell too many people that. We'll have to have all our meetings there.
No, I can't see very good yet.
Like, just the one I have. Yeah.
But I think it's gonna get better.
I help stuff like that.
I couldn't fix everything because I got astigmatism so bad.
Oh, really?
No, so I still have to use some reading glasses.
Darn it.
Sorry about that.
Oh, that's all right.
That's what I need right there.
Well, this is from the presenter, Ellen, giving us a gift.
She came to present and she's like, we'll just schedule. She had to go to another appointment, so we'll schedule her another day.
You should let her present.
And so, yeah, we'll stick her in January, have her come back and present the fine arts. She didn't bring any pictures, just brought the coloring book. But now, we'll just jump into the ordinances.
Is that Mitch?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got a nuisance ordinance and a sound ordinance on item number 2. I think we have the sound first.
The sound first.
Yeah.
Well, I drafted 2 ordinances. I guess we could combine them and put them all in one, but I think I think it would be easier to have a sound pollution, a standalone ordinance for sound pollution, and one for nuisance. I went through quite a few and took the best parts of what I thought was appropriate and put it into this thing. It's pretty self-explanatory. I don't know that it needs much explanation. If you have any questions on it, I'll be happy to answer them. I would like to get some feedback from Lynn and Bart Kuntz before we pass it. So I don't know what your timetable is or what you're wanting to do.
Yeah, I think to me, I just put them on work session today so we can have a glance over and
Yeah.
kind of receive commission feedback of what direction you guys want to go with it, and then we'll push it out for a final review, whatever we come up with today, and then I don't know if we can have. Well, I guess it makes sense to have Lynn. He's just indicated on some of the reviews where he's the appeal authority. He doesn't want to create a conflict right from the beginning.
I will reach out to him and see.
See what he wants to do on there, and then, but definitely Bart.
Yeah. On the sound pollution one is, I went through a lot of different ordinances on the sound pollution, and I think Grand County has an excellent sound pollution ordinance, and so I just basically copied their ordinance. So this on the sound pollution, it's exactly the same as Grand County's, which I think is beneficial.
Tell them that.
Okay, I won't.
Yeah, we don't want them to think that
We're
we think they do anything good.
Okay. But I think, for residents of Spanish Valley, I think it would be good to have the same restrictions and conditions so that, the neighbors are all going by the same ordinance. The one question I do have on the sound pollution is, it's got in the definitions, it's got, and sound pollution ordinances, the ones that I've looked at, get very technical. because they're, especially in bigger cities, that gets complicated. It takes an engineer to figure out what, but on the definitions on restricted hours, we've got
9 to 7.
9 to 7.
9 to
so-
7, and then in the summertime, 10 to 6. And we may, I don't know how you feel about that. Technically, that would mean that at 7 o'clock in the morning, somebody could, that's not a restricted time. So I don't know if you want to play with those hours or leave them the same.
Just a couple of thoughts. I started getting phone calls last summer from people out in El Meadows.
Well, not only you, but everybody.
And then we had the problem down in Spanish Valley, but at that point I contacted Mitch and asked him to look into the possibility of a nuisance or a sound ordinance. These guys were getting up early in the morning running chainsaws, and they had loud music. You could hear it. They thought there was a concert in Blanding. They could hear it so good. And so, but it was bothering a lot of the neighbors, and the guy was, he says, I'm not breaking the law, so I'm going to do what I need to do. And he was right. We didn't have an ordinance. And then you know what goes on down in Spanish Valley with these overnight rentals. These families come and they got their ATVs and their side-by-sides, and they run up and down the roads and bother a lot of other people that live down there. So Mitch had been working on this kind of at my request, and I don't want to have something that is overly restrictive to one group or another. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, people in the summer get up and they start working at daylight. And then they work until the sun goes down. That's 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you guys feel about those hours. I think maybe we might want to look at those hours, Mitch.
Yeah.
Just because, the state thinks we need daylight savings time so that these people can work all hours of the day and so forth.
And people that work, by the time you come home and do dinner, whatever, you're glad to have some daylight to.
Yeah.
I think there's something that people should be. I have 3 or 4 people talk to me about that. They're afraid to report their neighbors because
Right.
you don't want to get in trouble. But there's courtesy times. Like with me, I like to get up early and start working in the backyard, and I have
But you're not running a chainsaw.
I have the leaf blower. I have the weed
Lawnmower.
eater. The weed eater is my
It's loud, huh?
it's my blessing. Anyway, but I don't have little only toward the front. I have a neighbor that have little children, and I know the little children sometimes sleeping in or afternoon, whatever. So I go in the end of the property. Just wait a certain time. That's courtesy. But sometimes when people are partying and come and don't live in the neighborhood, they figure, wow, look at this nice dirt road or this road, and they just, they don't stop and think, I guess.
Well, in the summertime, Mitch, I'm kind of thinking, you say 10 to 6. I think that people get up, they want to start working by 7 or 8 o'clock.
Okay.
I don't know if 7 is too early, but
I provided Kane counties and Garfield County,
okay,
and
what do they say?
they're kind of different as well on there. So Kane County, they've got theirs at 11 o'clock at night and sunrise in the morning, so they just pegged it to sunrise.
Oh, that's 6 o'clock.
And then, and then on Garfield County, they got 10 p.m. and then 9 a.m. is when. So for me, growing up in the construction
So
industry,
10 p.m. is at night?
10 p.m. is at night, 9 a.m. is to me. So in the construction industry, we went to work in the dark, and we had our equipment
Yeah.
operating. So we had it started, and then as soon as the sun lifted, we were pushing dirt, and our sawmill was running. I mean, that's the life of a farmer rancher. Is you're up before dark.
Well, like in Blandy, after that big storm, we had lots of roofing going on, lots of siding, and people would start early in the morning. Their contractors, they come and
Yep,
finish
they
really
do.
quick. And
Especially in the
move.
summertime to beat the heat.
Yeah, so
You know, and so I was just thinking through that, and I know I liked as I went through these and just try to figure, okay, you know, chainsaws. Does that mean, you know, you can't start whittling on wood or cutting firewood out at Eastland or, you know, Eucola? That's a big area to go get wood. So if you leave early in the morning, well, what time is that? That it's still still noisy to the residents.
I think this is more directed at
The
residential
nuisance.
communities.
Well, this goes all over the zoning. You've kind of included, Mitch included kind of all of the zoning across the board. So
Well, it's the whole
Other than
unincorporated
industrial.
area of San Juan
Yeah.
County.
yeah,
Um,
so
but yeah, I think in the summertime, following up on what Max said, is uh, especially down in Spanish Valley or Moab, they get up at dark because
Get on all the truck.
their hours are like from 5 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon.
yeah,
You know, to beat the heat in the summertime. So that might be a good idea. Is just not tie it to a time, but
just the sunrise.
to sunrise, and that way I don't think you even have to make the distinction between summertime and wintertime because it's kind of built in there.
The sun takes care of that.
from
Yeah,
sunrise to sunset. I don't know. Or just sunrise to.
Yeah, and so for me, as I applied this, is I like having the time in the evenings because I mean, for me, I'm the worst where I'll work here till dark, but I'll be setting up my camp in the dark as well. So I'll be making noise, hammering,
Yeah.
you know, and offloading our trailers at night. And
Yeah.
so it's like, how do you prevent the Mac of the world from
Yeah,
becoming the nuisance? Or,
but I think it's important to understand that a lot of those activities will not be in violation. It's just the unreasonable ones, i.e.,
Yeah,
chainsaws, big
Generator.
bulldozers. Yeah,
loud music.
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's we would want to make sure that things like getting up and hooking up your trailer and is not going to be in violation of the code. It's
Yeah.
only these excessive noises.
And I like that how it mentioned in the policy that excessive and unusual
Mhm.
noise.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, because it kind of calls that out and gives a definition of what is excessive and unusual. One of the cases in Eastland was the property owner was constructing a log cabin and was playing a radio, you know, just on-site radio, and the neighbors were complaining about the noise of the music.
And then we're not.
You know, I was like,
That was when Rush Limbaugh was alive.
I don't know. They probably played a little bit of Rush or a little Motley Crue. I don't know. The neighbors didn't like the
Well,
music,
for
but they could
Maya, I
hear
mean, it wasn't just next door. It was.
a little ways up. They could
Yeah.
hear the music, and so, and that's normal of a construction site. And I don't know if we in here it kind of carves out, you know, construction type noise.
Yeah, and the sound pollution ordinance is ties some of these activities to decibel level. But if you read on page 5, it says specific noises, prohibitions during restricted hours, and it means regardless of what the decibel level is, these activities are expressly prohibited during the restricted hours, which is radios, receivers, television, stereo, speakers, musical instruments, public loudspeakers, animals that make frequent or habitual noise, loading operations, domestic power tools and equipment, fireworks, explosives, powered mechanical devices, bells and alarms. You know, so
Well, I think they try to pass or try to do some restrictions in the city and got some pushback from some of the construction people.
They did.
yeah,
Yep, that's
Like-
normal.
The cement company trying to
Yep.
Yeah.
get their work done early
A batch
before the
plant.
sun
Yep.
right.
Asphalt
started
plant.
baking things, and so
When cement, you have to do a certain temperature because you
Yeah.
you
you know,
can
they
lose
back
it
up
really
a truck
quick.
and it goes beep,
Mhm.
beep, beep, beep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you have a private residence next to those things, I mean, you don't want to hear that going off at 6 in the morning.
You know,
You know.
And there's people like me. San Juan County is too quiet. I was raised in a city of millions of people, and just the sound of the train, sound of buses, sound of everything was lullaby.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, let's look it over, Mitch. I'd be really interested in Bart's comments on that.
Okay.
Do you know-
Perfect.
more than Lynn even.
Yeah.
So I know that this is heavily, and it was from the beginning for Grand County, heavily weighted to reduce the ATV noise and the pollution that they get in Grand County. I don't know for sure, but my understanding was that there were some lawsuits that were also pending because they're trying to regulate a use that people pay a tax on. So ATV use, things like that, they're entitled to drive on our roadways. Well, this ordinance was trying to prevent that during off hours, but I think the ATV club or somebody also filed suit against this ordinance, saying that they're taxpayers as well and have right to drive on public roads anytime, day or night, without restrictions. Do you know of anything that?
No,
It's
but
going down
I'll
that
talk
way.
with Bart about that.
Okay.
And getting back to Lynn, you know, part of the ordinance is the prohibition, but the second part is also the enforcement. And
That's the one I worry about.
yeah, and that's where Lynn comes in.
Yeah.
And you know, and it would be good to get his comments and
let's get
remarks on enforcement, because right now I have it as you can enforce it civilly, you can enforce it administratively, meaning you give them a notice of violation. Uh, they can have a hearing in front of Lynn, and or you can also do it criminally. So those are all built in both these ordinances on the enforcement side. So I think it would be good to get comments from both Lynn and
Yeah,
Bart.
that's true.
Yeah.
So
Do you put in there? I noticed that you have fireworks in here that is under the noise prohibition, but it didn't really include like the celebrations, like
yeah,
24th of July or the New Year's. You know, typically you'll hear those explosions, you know, or fireworks during those
Yeah.
times, or even what I worry about is just the freedom and the ability on your private property to do target practice with a 270, which is going to be loud, or you know, in the rifle ranges they've got the explosive canisters that you can now target practice with. Just making sure those items were also included, so
okay.
if somebody's out there target practice on their property and they've got 300 acres that we're not calling the sheriff on them.
Yeah.
For those type of things, but
And there could be people that complain about the 24th of July fireworks.
Yeah.
yeah, there are people
Yeah.
that do that about
Yeah.
their dogs.
That's kind of a city thing
Yeah.
more than a county.
Yeah, and I can put fireworks other than, you know, and limit it to
Celebrations.
state
Like
holidays.
For the New Year's
Yeah.
and
So when we had, I was thinking of just kind of some of the historical events, just the celebrations that we've had here in the past, or they'll have specific events that'll have fireworks, and I don't know if like our motocross, those race events, if they have fireworks at the finish line, or like just kind
Yeah.
of including
And there's a cutout for that if they get a special
events
permit.
permit. I seen
Yeah.
that. I appreciated
Yeah.
that too. That was a good one.
Okay,
It's in there.
I will.
And
You-
we'll hold a public hearing on this, right?
Yes.
When
Yeah.
we get ready to get it refined and ready to pass.
Yeah. Why don't we put it on for the January calendar?
Yeah, if we can get Bart, I know Bart is just as busy, and so let's see if we can get them to.
Yeah.
do
I'll
little
get their
on it.
comments back, and also, I guess I'll shoot you all an email, or how do you want to finally decide on what the restricted hours should be?
Do you like the sunrise? Where
Yeah.
you just tie it to sunrise, and
I
then
think
at
so.
night, what do you think as far as in the evening? Like I said, you've got two different. You know, this one here was 11 p.m., 11 p.m. You've got a 10 p.m. and then what was ours, Mitch? Can you remember?
Ours is well in the summertime. I think it's 9 p.m. or excuse me, in the wintertime it's 9 p.m. In the summertime it's 10 p.m.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
And that's dark. And we
Unless
both those
somebody-
times. it's
You
dark.
want to just say 10 p.m. Okay, so sunrise
Sunrise.
to 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's all I got.
It'll be hard to get little kids to bed, but we're still, you gotta distinguish, we're talking about out in the county, not in the city.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
that's a kind of a different animal.
Yeah. And just, I also think we need a better dog control or animal control ordinance. And in fact, on our animal control ordinance, if you go to the sheriff's department, they have on their website, you can pull up the animal control ordinance. If you go to American Legal Publishing, who is is where we codify everything, that animal control ordinance is different. I mean, it's 99% the same, but it's formatted differently and it's a little bit different. But I think we need to come up with a better animal control ordinance, and also I would like to maybe look at the home-based business ordinance. I think that one needs to be updated.
Okay.
So, with your permission, coming down the pipeline, I'd like to maybe look at those and present
That's
those
good.
to you.
That's good.
And
Okay.
we still have the permitted use or that ordinance that we've got to modify as well for the events. So the event use permit process, we've got an old
Oh,
archaic ordinance that requires if you come into San Juan County and you want a special event, right now you've got to have an analog phone, you've got to have a doctor present, you have to have restrooms for male and female. So and we tried it once before.
That include, special events includes a wedding.
It did, yes.
Wow.
In your backyard.
Yeah, and so
Okay.
we've got to go through and fix that because we haven't been enforcing that one at all.
Okay.
It was built, I think it was drafted in 1970s. I've got a lane working on modifications to that, and so there's several ordinances like that are on our books that we've got to update and modify. And
Okay.
part of the sheriff's with there is they use the Lexapol. Lexapol, and then they've never been adopted into ours. So it's like the county has the ordinances and they're using Lexapol, and so
yeah,
we've got to either tie the bridge together or
yeah,
push them to one enforceable side. And then you've got in here you also had the nuisance and weed control policy. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to look at that. I mean, for one example, I've got a landfill operator in one of our cities that has salvage rights or scavenge rights to all of the stuff is ending up in his home, in the yard, out on county property, which is now a nuisance to the adjacent property owners, and they're crying foul, and it is pretty foul. They sent some pictures in, and I don't know how many lawnmowers a person needs out in your yard, but it's like he's taking the stuff. That
It's
should be
just
going
an
to the
extension
landfill
of the
and
dump.
putting it in
Yeah.
his yard. And
So-
so we severely need kind of this nuisance on weed. And Commissioner Adams, you had mentioned some of the properties in the county that we've sent letters to in the past, and we just kind of classified it under the land use ordinance. But I like this nuisance and weed control ordinance because it kind of strengthens that to where we can start going after some of the rundown businesses. I like that if they're letting their businesses become so deplorable that it's an eyesore, then this kind of gives us some of the teeth to go out to some of these properties and say you need to clean it up, and the storage of old abandoned vehicles that are just sitting there where it becomes a junkyard right on our commercial corner. This will give us a little bit more teeth to start
So
pushing
Those
those
business within the cities too?
No.
outside.
No.
This is all outside in the county.
It's
And
all
so
county authority.
Mhm.
there's one property that you drive by as you go to Moab that, for a while was a junkyard, and we sent a notice to them just through the mail. But this kind of gives it a little bit more teeth behind it and kind of the ability to enforce it a little bit harder than just a letter telling them that you need to clean up your property.
And
So,
sometimes we can probably look into ways that we can ask, in case they're thinking, I'm planning to do something with a property, and sometimes the money is not there, but maybe we can probably make some kind of deal with them. If they let somebody come in and refurbish, they can have the property for free of cost for a year or something like that. Do something that would benefit the owner, but also would make
Sure.
add another business to our county. Because sometimes people they don't see the yard like it is. They see it how they see it. That's gonna be someday.
yeah, and I think that's
And so if we can figure out ways that we can figure a way how to connect this owner with somebody trying to open a business and a business idea. Maybe we should make a whole list of the kind of business we need and give people ideas.
yeah.
No.
And that's the hard part. I mean, my grandpa was one of them. We had an old saw that you can hook up to the tractor PTO, and it would sit out there for most of the time. But if we ever needed to cut logs, we could hook it up to the belt and then cut logs. And so some of it, although it may look like junk to that owner, we use it.
Yeah.
We didn't use it every year, but we had it. In that 1950s Studebaker that's sitting out there, rusting is a gem to somebody, and so it's how do you finesse it to where you get rid of the eyesore. But to me, my grandpa, he was that he had all of that old equipment out there, and someday he would use it, and wasn't all the time. But how do you somebody driving by, they're like, that's a nuisance, it's an eyesore. I drive by it, I see it every day. You need to clean up your trash. And for him, he's like, well, where else do I store it? It's my property. So it's a finessing that has to take place when it's, somebody's trash is another man's treasure type cliche. So we don't want to be policing all of this, but I think when it becomes the nuisance, and I like where Mitch took this is, you define the nuisance to where if it's health and safety.
Yeah.
If it goes along those lines to where, that trash dump that's appeared up there in Devil's Canyon, they're worried about it, the rains and everything, just the old oil, old fuel that's sitting in those lawnmowers, things like that, contaminating their water system because
Yeah.
You know, it's just all out there in a heap. I mean, literally, it's become another dump out there. But then I also like how it kind of tackles in here is the housing. I mean, there's some houses that are out there that people live in that don't meet building code. Well, this kind of gives us that ability to come in and say, hey, you need to clean up your house as well because you're not living in conditions that are suitable for habitat and following the building code. It kind of ties that into here as well that they've got to comply with the law, or if not.
Yeah, and I know the housing, the Utah Housing Department, whatever, they're planning to come this way and start helping with fixing some
Mhm.
things, and I think
Yeah.
that
Southeastern Utah
If-
has some of those
yeah.
programs. Yeah.
I did this with them, and they said they're planning. They haven't done anything in San Juan County as far as that. They said they're trying to increase more and come this way. So I think when we try to change, but also we have hope for the people. You know, the
Give them
giving
opportunities.
opportunities. You
Mhm.
know, start matching people and
Yeah, it's a balance between property rights and
Yeah.
unreasonable noises and activities
yeah,
that
yeah.
that start to become a problem for the neighbors.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to avoid.
Like I said, I had some few people talk to me, and they say they don't dare say anything because they have to live in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Okay, anything else?
thank you.
All right.
All right.
I guess you don't need me for anything else.
I don't know. Are you staying for the commission meeting? And
I wasn't planning on it, but I'll talk
Okay.
with Brittany, and if she's not going to be on mine, I'll
Okay.
come back.
okay, we did plan to have that executive session. I know that Jens was going to attend,
Okay.
but that was after commission meeting later.
Okay.
And so
All right,
Thanks,
I'll make
Mitch.
sure one of
Appreciate-
us are here for the
Thank you,
commission
Mitch.
meeting.
Thank you.
appreciate your help with
Appreciate
this.
it.
Thanks.
All right, we have a half hour.
So I left at 7 yesterday morning and got back at about 9 last night.
Oh, I know your eyes
Long
look
day
like
on the
they're so
road.
sore.
I
Yeah.
went over to that hospital, supposed to be there at 10:30, and I was still in the waiting room after 12, waiting for
Really?
them to take me in.
It sounds like you're social medicine.
Gosh, dang.
Yes, it's so hard.
It took about 15 minutes